Chapter 648, Unpredictable. The Northern Squad also encountered their enemies here. In the Jing Square, which is only 5 kilometers in circumference, skirmishes are very likely to occur. Not to mention that the Eclipse Moon people were led by Grey Raven. Therefore, before Woer Fang and the others could find the Eclipse Moon discovered their whereabouts first. There were only 2 enemies here. One was a short, stocky man with a fierce square face and unkempt black-framed glasses. The other was a Yakuza thug with a yellow spiky haircut and a metal baseball bat. From the information they had previously obtained, Woer Fang and the others immediately knew the identities of their opponents. The 2 on our side are Kamaya Nato and Akutsu Shinichiro. Woer Fang felt slightly relieved. According to the information, the combat power of these 2 people in the first battle was not too terrifying. At least compared to the Daiku Kaiten and Jin they encountered, these 2 people did not show particularly strong combat power. On the side of the Operations Command Center, Zhu Jing also began to analyze the information as he saw the reports from the 2 teams. 5 of the 13 Eclipse Moon members have appeared so far. In other words, there are still 8 people who have not appeared. Even if we exclude the non-combat personnel, there should be at least 6 combat-capable aliens. Zhu Jing crossed his arms and rested his chin in his hands, his gaze coldly fixed on the footage of all the aliens on the big screen. It all depends on what's going on with Zhang Yi. Unexpectedly, they had been waiting for a while in the southeast direction where Zhang Yi was. However, none of the Eclipse Moon members showed up. Zhang Yi set up his rifle and aimed at the surrounding space from the top floor, just waiting for an enemy to appear so that he could shoot first. This was the edge of Jing Square, and the restrictions imposed by the fog were limited. He could still observe the space within 300 meters around him. However, since this place had just been bombed, the ground was still hot. Therefore, the infrared device could not be used. After absorbing some of the power of the original Empty Night, Zhang Yi's various abilities have now been greatly enhanced. Therefore, even if it is just an ordinary sniper rifle, it will become a powerful killing weapon against aliens in his hands. Not to mention this Thunder Strike, which is a superheat weapon that Liu Combustible has modified using his ability, and it fits him perfectly. Thunder Strike plus Holy Silver Bullets. Even a Delta-class alien could be killed with one blow. On either side of him, Hua and Liang Yu kept a vigilant watch, guarding against any sneak attacks. Hua crouched on the balcony, her amber eyes scanning the surroundings like a radar. Her instinct as a hunter of animals allowed her to quickly detect any living creatures that appeared around her. As for Chen Xiao and Peng Li, the 2 best friends, they were cautiously waiting at the bottom of the building. Woer Fang and Woer Fang had enemies on the other side, which made them even more cautious. They both felt that the enemy would appear soon. However, as time passed by, the sounds of fighting could already be heard from their communication devices, and not even the fog around them had changed the slightest. Huh? What's going on? Zhang Yi couldn't help but frown. According to common sense, since Eclipse Moon had such powerful reconnaissance capabilities, they would have definitely discovered their arrival a long time ago. But why has he waited so long and the enemy still hasn't made a move? Could it be that Zhang Yi's pupils constricted as he thought of a possibility? Do they have the kind of ability that can see through Zhang Yi's strength? So out of fear and caution, they dare not send someone here? What kind of ability do they have? Zhang Yi muttered to himself. He was on guard, thinking that the opponent was unpredictable and too terrifying. This is how it is in the world of aliens. One careless move and you could lose your life, wiped out by strange and unknown abilities. Because the mutations of every alien are unknown, any strange and mysterious superpowers are possible. Even Zhang Yi, who is a top-level Delta-class alien, cannot guarantee that he will never be killed by a low-level alien. So he said to Liang Yu and Hua next to him, "Be on your guard. Once you notice anything amiss, the first thing we have to do is protect our lives." Liang Yu and Hua also became serious when they saw Zhang Yi being so cautious. Hua directly transformed into a giant form, making a vigilant woo-woo sound with his mouth, and looked around with his big head. He was afraid of missing any enemy that might attack from the shadows at any time. On the Eclipse Moon organization side, with Shingoji Saikairo's reminder, Huinren also noticed the empty spots on the map. He ran his hand along his chin and muttered, "Mayumi's divination can't be wrong. That means there are no enemies between the eastern and southern regions. What kind of trick is the enemy planning?" Huin's expression was playful. He didn't like the feeling of not being in control of this situation. But at the moment, he simply couldn't figure out the Jiangnan region's intentions. At this moment, Nobunaga Tsukamoto, who had not attacked, walked over. "No need to go to all that trouble. I'll just go take a look." He turned to Mayumi Takeuchi. "After all, Mayumi said that I'd be lucky in the southeast today." Huin smiled slightly. "Indeed, since Mayumi said it, there can be no doubt. Nobunaga, that direction is up to you. Let's see what tricks the other side has up their sleeves." He waved his hand and said to the couple Takizawa Takashi and Iwata Nanako next to him, "Takizawa, Iwata, you follow Nobunaga." "Yes, boss." Takizawa Takashi and Iwata Nanako had no objections, and the two followed the carefree Nobunaga in that direction. The gray crow on their shoulders guided their way. The two sides met on the battlefield, and there was not much nonsense, just fighting. The Wushu side encountered the three people of Daiku Kaido Yenjin first, and the battle also started with them first. The Battle Command Center side and the Tenjin squad could clearly see the scene of their battle. Even the most arrogant Deng Shintong also restrained his usual cynical attitude and focused on watching the images on the screen. Pride is not arrogance. Deng Shintong's source of pride is precisely because he never neglects any task. If not, how could he dominate the Blizzard City leaderboard for 3 consecutive months? To describe it in the words of a great man, strategically, defy your opponent, tactically, value your opponent. Only in this way can one become great. Before the true strength of Eclipse Moon is tested, even if all 3 troops from the outer city are sacrificed, the Heavenly God Squad will not intervene. Everything is for the ultimate victory. Chapter 649, Split Body. On the battlefield on Woer Fang's side, the battle was about to break out. Sakurabai Shiko and Kurosawa Akemi quietly retreated to the back as if nothing had happened. To show that they would not interfere in this battle, they even came a few dozen meters away and sat down on a collapsed pillar. Woer Fang stared at the giant in front of him and thought to himself, "These guys really don't take us seriously. But that's just as well, for against one, if we combine our abilities, we might even have a chance to kill him." Thinking about this, Woer Fang's heart could not help but become a little excited. If they can kill a core member of Eclipse Moon, they will receive a very generous bonus from the regional headquarters. Daiku Kaitenjin stared at them, lazily raising his arm and waving at them. "What are you waiting for? Are you afraid of fighting 4 against 1? As an orc-like outsider, Daiku Kaitenjin didn't even transform. Both his words and actions revealed extreme contempt. "Damn it." Woer Fang gritted his teeth, "Then let's do this." He reached out and removed a huge weapon case from behind him. It was a black metal box that, if you didn't look closely, could even be mistaken for a small coffin. Boom! The huge weapon case crashed to the ground. At this moment, a strange change occurred in Woer Fang's body. His flesh began to twist and writhe, and in no time at all, it split open from the middle. A large mass of yellow flesh fell off along half of his body, and then it fell onto the ground in a slimy mess, as if it were overhydrated dough. But soon, the slimy mass swelled up and gradually took on the appearance of a person. It was a naked person, whose appearance was exactly the same as Woer Fang's. This is Woer Fang's ability. Although he is naked, his appearance and physique are exactly the same as Woer Fang's. This is a part of his body. Woer Fang was formerly a courier in Jiangning City. He grew up in an orphanage and grew up in loneliness since childhood, so the loneliness in his heart made him desperately crave love and companionship. Therefore, his ability is to split himself and get another reliable comrade in arms. He believes that for a powerful enhanced ability user, what could be better than having two bodies to take advantage of their superpowers? So now, what appears before Daiku Kaido and Jin is no longer one powerful enhanced ability user, but two. Daiku Kaido and Jin opened the weapon case, which had two sides. He took out a huge silver-colored antler bow from it and handed it to his clone. He himself took out two huge bronze hammers from the other side. The drum-beating urn-shaped golden hammer was the weapon of Han Dynasty General Ma Yuan, and legend has it that it was the weapon of Li Yuanba, the first of the four fierce and the 8 great hammers and the world's #1 warrior. The bronze hammers were twice the size of an adult's head, each one made of solid alloy and weighing over 100 caddies. It was equivalent to holding 2 adults in your hands as weapons. This type of weapon originally only existed in legend. But in this era of mutation, there are really people who can use it freely. The silver giant bow with bull horns in the hands of the clone also looks full of pressure. Woer Fang stood in front of the crowd and said in a deep voice, "I will hold him off in the front. You use your own methods to attack." The others did not say a word, but their eyes were fixed on the Daiwu Huiyan Jin. However, the two Ronin watching from afar did not dare to take things lightly. If they actually believed the words coming out of the enemy's mouth, they would be pure fools. "Oh? It looks very imposing," Daiku Kaiten commented indifferently. He assembled his dragonfly blade and with a casual wave, there was an astonishing sound of wind breaking. "Go!" As soon as Woer Fang finished speaking, he rushed towards Daiku Kaiten like a whirlwind. At the same time, his clone drew his bow and nocked an arrow. The huge silver-colored bow was like a full moon, and with a whoosh sound, it pierced the air like an eagle's cry. The arrow's speed was actually no different from that of Woer Fang's body, and it attacked Daiku Kaiten from 2 directions. Daiku Kaido's eyes narrowed as he casually swept his hand in a dragonfly cut, knocking the blurry arrow away. On the other side of his body, Woer Fang's hammer had already smashed downwards towards his waist. Similarly, when using cold weapons, experts would choose blunt weapons. Because once hit, even if it was just a part of the body, it would quickly render the person unable to fight. Woer Fang's attack came from 2 sides at once, and it was difficult for an ordinary person to react. Daiku Kaido was not a speed-type alien, so he was unable to knock the arrow away and dodge it. But in the face of the hammer that was about to strike him, he made a simple move. A thick palm quickly and steadily caught Woer Fang's thunderous blow. Dong, dong, dong. The huge impact made Daiku Kaido take 3 steps back. He looked at Woer Fang in slight surprise, not bad strength. But Woer Fang was scared by this scene and was sweating profusely. His attack with all his strength was blocked by the opponent with just one hand. What kind of strong body and strength is this? Unexpectedly, instead of getting angry, Daiku Kaikaien Jin was aroused and he laughed, beckoning to Woer Fang again. Woer Fang gritted his teeth, roared, and charged at him again, holding 2 heavy hammers. The 2 drum-shaped golden hammers smashed down from the sky, crashing with the force of 1,000 thunders onto the head of Daiku Kaiten. This time, Daiku Kaiten's legs were spread apart on the ground, like 2 pillars rooted in the ground. This is the most classic posture in sumo wrestling, embracing the earth, which can make it as still as a mountain. The hammer fell heavily, and this time, Daiku Jin swung the dragonfly blade in his hand. Clang! The sound of metal clashing was deafening. Daiku Jin only lightly knocked, and Woer Fang was sent flying back more than 10 meters. Woer Fang felt numbness in his back and excruciating pain in his hands. When he looked down, he noticed that his hands were shaking uncontrollably and bleeding profusely. Is the gap in strength really that big? Woer Fang was stunned. Since the end of the world, he has been the undisputed master of strength in Jiangning City. For the first time, he felt being ruthlessly crushed on the strength level. But fortunately, he was not alone. While he was taking the brunt of the attack, his teammate also reacted. A black crab appeared out of thin air on the back of Daiku Kaido. The crab's eyes flashed with a strange red light, growing more and more urgent. By the time Daiku Kaido reacted, a loud explosion sounded on his back. It worked! Mo Zhongning's mouth revealed a trace of joy. His soul beast was created with special abilities, and in addition to being able to detect, there are also soul beasts that can explode. And the attack just now combined the abilities of Li Weihai, who was standing nearby. Li Weihai, like Zhang Yi, is an extremely rare spatial alien. His ability is different from Zhang Yi's, though. Zhang Yi's ability is to collect. His ability is to transfer. In space, he can move objects of a certain mass, even humans. That strike was a combined attack skill he used to transfer Mo Zhongning's self-destructing soul beast to Daigong Yanjin using his own ability.